Hey there, Fletcher, all things overlanding here, and today I'm going to walk you through my sort of strategy, my method for planning builds. So today I'm going to walk you through how I'm going to be planning out my camper build that I'm going to be doing here, hopefully in about a month. But I want to keep it high level and talk a little bit more generally just about like the methods that I use, kind of how I plan. I've mentioned this in previous episodes, but I almost like planning my builds as much as I like actually executing and then using them. So for me, I think this is a lot of fun, and hopefully it's a lot of fun for you guys too, to kind of see the process that I take when I start to plan out a future build. So again, today we're going to dive into that on this episode of the podcast. So stick around to hear all of my tips for how to plan a build and kind of how I do it.
Understand where it came from, but you got it, my got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you gave to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys, so as I mentioned in the intro, today I'm talking about how I plan for my builds. So I just wanted to kind of bring you into my office here and sort of show you the methods that I use. Kind of how do I do this, right? How do I think about these things? How do I lay things out? I will pop some things up on the screen here from time to time if you're watching on YouTube, but if you're on the podcast, I'll make sure to describe everything and talk about what I'm doing just so you don't miss anything. So again, today I'm planning for this camper that I've got coming. I've currently got a dual drawer system in the back of my truck, very, very heavy, but it's been very useful for the last couple of years. However, it's probably loaded about 350, 400 pounds. So I want to reduce the weight. I had someone ask me on a previous video, what's your current weight at on the truck as far as gear and stuff in the bed? I estimate that I'm around 1,300 to 1,400 pounds. Payload on Pro 4X is a little under 1,000 pounds, so I'm pretty well over payload, which, as we all know, increases the speed at which all the stuff on your truck is going to wear, your brakes, your engine. It's just harder on everything. Transmission, right? It's harder on everything. So again, my goal is to get me down to about between 1,000 and 1,100 pounds would be ideal, but I'm thinking I will probably end up somewhere closer to 1,100 to 1,200. But again, any reduction that you can make is going to make everything better for your vehicle. So again, that's kind of the why, right? I want to reduce that weight. I want to make this build as good as possible because I plan to run this camper for a very long time. Honestly, I've been through a lot of different setups, and after years of doing this, I feel like the enclosed camper with the pass-through into the top is going to solve the very few problems that I have left with my current setup. So this is kind of my long-term solution, I hope, right? Now, we'll see in a few years what happens. You never know. Things can change. But I'm pretty locked in that this is going to be probably the thing that stays on this truck for a long time, maybe until I get rid of it someday. So anyways, let's start with the planning phase, right? So that's the first step, in my opinion. You can't do anything. There's no reason to run to Amazon and start buying stuff. There's no reason to, go out and start cutting into your vehicle, start cutting wood, start building things until you made a plan. So the first thing that I did was I made measurements of my bed. And if you're a Frontier guy, this may be helpful, but basically the total width of my bed is about 55.25 inches. The total length of my bed is about 58.5 inches. Now this is inside the bed, right? So not to the outside. This is usable space. In between the wheel wells at the back is right at about 44 inches, which is the exact width of my current box, so that it would fit between the wheel wells. You could build over the wheel wells too, but again, you just have to plan this stuff and think about it, right? What are your needs? What do you want to do? And then the wheel wells themselves at their widest point are about 6.25 inches. Now, why do I mention this, right? Because these are kind of the minimums that you have to do if you have a truck. Now, if you have an SUV, it may be different, but you're probably also going to have wheel well arches in the back of your SUV. You may have other things back there. You may need to access your spare underneath of it. So you need to think about all that stuff before you start to build anything. Now, in my case, what I'm thinking is, again, with the pass-through up into the tent, I'm going to probably build like a bench down one side, possibly with a fridge in the bottom of it, maybe a bench across the back. And underneath of that bench, I'm going to store all my electrical stuff. So I'm hoping to do lead time heated batteries for that stuff underneath the rear seat. And then my inverter will be on the back wall so that it's exposed, as well as my Red Arc Red Vision, which is what's going to control all of my electronics. So that way it's accessible. I can add and subtract things to it. I can wire new things into it. I'll have, full access to it versus now where it's all kind of hidden in a box. So again, you got to think about not just the dimensions of what you've got, but also the layout. What do you need to access? Do you need to access one thing more than another? If that's the case, you want to put it somewhere where you can get to it better, right? So again, starting with the basics of the dimensions of your vehicle, then starting to measure the benches and stuff, but also figuring out what's an allowable space in between the benches, let's say, so that I can get into the truck comfortably and get up in there. I could use it as potentially like a shower room or a bathroom. I probably will not shower in mine. I still will have the external shower tent. And so that's my plan, is I will only shower when it's warmer. So I want to do that outside of the vehicle, but I may want to go to the bathroom in there, right? I'm looking at some fancier toilets right now, some kind of all-in-one enclosed toilet units. So that way, then if you're heating the tent, let's say in the winter, you don't have to climb down a ladder. You don't have to go outside into the freezing cold to use the restroom. You can just use it, climb down from your tent into the bed of the truck and use it right there. So again, thinking about that stuff, right? Thinking about the long-term, what all you need to access. So I start with a whiteboard, or usually like a piece of paper and pencil, so that I can draw, I can erase, I can come up with ideas and things. And then I team that with a list. So I usually do like a Google Doc and a Google Sheet. And then like a hand-drawn sort of sketch. Or again, in this case, I'm doing a whiteboard, because actually in a week, and this is just sort of a tip, sort of a suggestion, if you are into this stuff, if you really enjoy this planning stuff, especially if you are not necessarily like a woodworker or an electrician or anything yourself, which I don't proclaim to be at all, but I've got some smart buddies that are really good at electronics. I've got some smart buddies that are good at woodworking. My wife is good at woodworking. So I'm actually going to have buddies over in a couple weeks, and we're going to use this whiteboard, and we're going to sit here and we're going to literally think through everything, right? How are we going to wire stuff? What do I need to wire? How many AC plugs do I need? How many things from the inverter do I need to run? Where should the inverter be? Where should all this stuff go, right? So I'm going to be doing that as sort of fun, drink some beer, eat some pizza, sit around in my office and plan this thing out here in a couple of weeks. So I would definitely recommend that to you. If you've got buddies that are going to help you with the build out, have a little get together, have a little pizza party, right? It doesn't matter. I'm not worried about what people think. I think it's fun. So we're going to get together and we're going to plan this thing out. But so I start with the drawing. I do have these cool little whiteboard lists things over here, and I will use these just to list out like probably electrical, woodworking, connective stuff, right? So like what kind of fixtures do I need? 80/20. I think I'm going to go with this stuff called Easy Fix, I think it's called. I'll put a link in the description below, but a friend of mine from Out of Office Camping turned me onto this stuff. It's just really easy to connect to like regular square tubing, so you don't have to do the expense of the 80/20 stuff, get everything just exactly right. It gives you some flexibility and some reusability with it. So like what fittings do I need for that, right? What electrical components do I need? All that sort of stuff. So I'm going to make lists of that. Then when I get with my buddies and we sort of plan everything out, we're getting together at least 2 to 3 weeks before my camper is going to arrive. That way, then I can order everything before the camper comes, because when it gets here, I want to be able to get started on it. So that is one of my pet peeves, is if I have a big project that's getting ready to start, I want to make sure I've got everything here and ready to go when that project is ready to kick off. So again, just getting that stuff, getting the components here in time for your build is super important. All right, so now ignoring my messy office, I've got a pachinko machine back here, my logo thing, just a bunch of junk thrown on my recliner there. But this box is kind of where I've been storing stuff. So you may have heard me mention before that I was thinking about getting a cap. And it actually was delayed and it never ended up getting here. But that kind of worked out, because the more that I've thought about it, the more I'm like, you know what, the cap is it's a middle ground, right? It does give me that enclosed space. It does give me the security that I want. It does give me the ability to sort of lock stuff up and keep the weather off of it, but it still doesn't have the pass through. You still have to use the ladder and stuff. It's still separate from the rooftop tent. So it doesn't actually solve all the problems, which is why when I saw this camper for this budget price, and I'll put a card up here if you're watching on YouTube and you want to go learn more about that. If you're on the podcast, just hop over to YouTube. I've got a whole playlist about the Alibaba camper build that I'm doing. But so now that I found that thing, and it's actually about the same price, if not just a tiny bit more than most of the caps out there, I'm super excited about it, because it's going to solve a lot of problems that the cap would not have solved. So anyways, I've just got this box, right? And what I'm going to do is, when my buddies get here, I'm going to take all this stuff out. So I've got this big 0 gauge wire that we're going to use to wire my alternator to my red arc, because I've never hooked that up. I've only ever been charging it off solar, because when I bought the truck, I was about to go to Wyoming and I needed to just get out the door. So I actually didn't ever hook up my alternator charging to my red arc, but it will receive that stuff. And that way it just keeps your battery topped off all the time while you're driving. So we've got a bunch of 0 gauge wire here that we're going to use for that. And again, then I'm going to lay all this stuff out on the floor so I know what components I have and we can figure out what's missing. I've got some of this old foam stuff here, and you may be asking yourself, what is that for? I use this for, like, if I'm going to lock a battery in place, right? So for instance, when I build my built-ins in the back, I'm not going to build them exactly around the batteries, because the size of the batteries could change, right? A battery could go bad. I might end up upgrading to more capacity at some point. So what I do is I'm going to build the box to the space, and then I'm going to use this foam stuff just to kind of put around the battery and hold it in place so that it doesn't bounce around down or, get jostled around inside of there. So I just kind of keep this stuff, scrap stuff, right? I'm kind of a hoarder, I guess, as you can see from the boxes over here for shipping stuff on eBay. So I'm keeping some of this foam stuff, more foam. These here, and I'm not going to walk you through every single thing in here, but I'm just giving you some ideas for like things that are going to go into the camper and things that you may want to think about for, removing pieces, for being modular with your setup. These are actually trolling motor mounts. I used these for my diesel heater previously on my extrusion bed rack. I actually affixed one side of this side to the inside of my extrusion rack, and then I attached this other piece to my diesel heater. And then what that allowed me to do is just slide it in. So it's kind of like a quick release. You could slide the diesel heater in, lock it in with that set screw in the top, and then it would be attached. And then I'd have my diesel heater on the truck and ready to go. And then when I get back from a trip, if I don't want to leave it out there in the weather and stuff, I can just slide it out of the trolling motor mount and quickly remove it. So I've held on to these because they weren't that much. They were like $40 a piece. I'll put a link in the description below to them. But these things are just like budget quick releases, right? You've probably seen the mounting company things, which are really slick, super cool pieces of gear, but those are really expensive, right? This is kind of like a cheap version of that you could do yourself for a budget price. So I've held on to those because I've got two sets of those. So I figure I could have two things, maybe my shower and maybe my diesel heater, that could each have one of these on it with a place to affix it where I could slide it in, swap them out, because I won't take my shower in the winter and I won't take my diesel heater in the summer. So maybe they each have a piece of the trolling motor mount on them so that I can quick swap the two of them. Also got some Nightlight LED rock lights here. I may put those under the truck as rock lights, or I may use those for interior lighting inside the camper. I'm not sure yet. But again, I've just held on to them. I've had them for a couple of years ready to go. So I'm holding on to those. I've got a bunch of like 12 or 14 gauge wire here that you can use for, wiring miscellaneous small like LED lights and things. I've got some drawer slides here, just some cheapy ones, 16-inch drawer slides. These wouldn't be used for, say, like a fridge or anything super heavy duty. I think they're only rated at like maybe 100 pounds total. But for like maybe if I build a drawer or something like that. Then I've got a ton of these Bouge RV area lights. These things are awesome. I did a video on this. I'll put a card in the right hand corner for that. These things are magnetic. They have clips on them. They're rechargeable, and they have sensors. So these are kind of my plans for inside of the gull-wing doors. Whenever you open the gull-wing door, the sensor kicks the light on, automatically turns itself on. They charge by USB-C. So maybe like after a trip, I could just magnetically pull them all off, plug them in, charge them up, put them back in the truck, and be ready to go. So I've got, several of those there. I've got these pretty cool lockable hinges. So these things, you actually push this and then they slide up. So I may use these for like shelves. You attach this to, say, like the side of the truck like this, and then you can slide this up and it will actually lock itself in place just like that. So if you put two of these, say, on a piece of plywood, birch or something, then you could turn this into a really quick release sort of fold out shelf. So I'm kind of thinking about that to expand kitchen space. I've also got these with the gas strut on them that are basically similar, where you could attach, say, a piece of wood to the top of this, and then this thing kind of collapses down or expands up so that you could, raise this up, put it maybe like a stove or something on top of it. But now that I'm going to have the kitchen with my camper, I won't use that for that, but I'll use it for something else. Then I picked up a ton of these little like universal adapters, and my plan for that is just to, again, make everything super modular, right? I want to make this so that I can plug and play things. So if I want an LED light to be plugged in, I can do that. If I want to quick swap it to something else, it's got, positive and negatives on the other end. So you can pretty much wire anything that you want into these and then use these universal plug ends to make it universal. So you can plug anything into it that you want. I've also got a switch panel in here, which I may use in the back. Now, my red arc is going to be my primary control because it also has Bluetooth, so I could actually connect to it, say, from up in the tent, turn things on and off remotely without having to touch it. But I might use this for, like, I don't know, like area lighting, things inside the camper, things that I just want to be able to quickly switch a button for. This thing's super customizable. It has a ton of spots. It has a master turn on and off. It's from Mic Tuning. I'll put a link to that below too. But, something like this could work. If you're not going to go super crazy like with the red arc or anything, and you're just going to have, say, a very simple dual battery setup, then you could use something like that teamed with any capacity battery that you want, and you could get a lot of stuff done with it. Then I've got more heavy gauge wire down here, probably because I forgot that I had bought some, so I bought more. That is the problem with this, right? I've been planning this for so long that I've kind of forgotten what all I've got. I've got another inverter down here. I've also got a 3,000 watt inverter from Lead Time somewhere else. Some more lights here. That's actually a wiring harness for lights. So, I mean, there's just so much stuff, right? And again, I'm not going to bore you by going through all this stuff. But so tons and tons of junk that I've just accumulated over the years, right? But so my strategy for using this stuff again is I'm going to lay this stuff out on the floor. We're going to talk, my buddies and I, we're going to look at the size of the bed. We're going to think about these built-ins, these shelves. Where does the fridge need to go? How much room does it need for the fridge? You know, if the kitchen's going to be over here, it's going to pop out of the gull-wing doors. That's what I like about the built-in kitchen in the gull-wing doors, is it's not going to take up interior space very much. And it'll be up high. So that'll be over here kind of above this side. So then I got to look at how much room I have below that to, say, a shelf or some sort of like a platform where I could put stuff or mount things. What I'll probably do is on that side, depending on how much space is available, that's where like the diesel heater would go. That's where the air compressor would go. Things that are going to be fixed in place that just need enough room to exist, but don't really need to be accessed per se. Those are all going to go over there. So again, getting your dimensions laid out, starting to think about what you want. I watch a ton of YouTube videos. That's kind of where I get my ideas from, but then I always try and be different. So then I'm going to take all these things that I've got, I'm going to sort of start to think through them. I've got some really cool ideas for how to build shelves and benches and things like that. And then I'm going to start to put it all together, right? We're going to do a ton of measuring, because my fear is I don't want to cut a bunch of stuff up and start to build all this stuff and then none of it fits. So again, tons of planning first, then you start to measure, build out the frames of the boxes that are going to make the benches, get all that stuff built in there, triple confirm that the fridge will fit, triple confirm that everything's going to work. Before finishing that stuff out, then I'm going to wire everything, right? So electronics will be probably right after the beginning of the built-in. So as soon as I get the overarching shapes of the built-ins ready to go, that's when I'm going to do all my electrical wiring. And then as soon as that's done, then we'll put in the built-ins and then we'll start to finish them off. So then once you've gotten your plans drawn, once you've started to do preliminary measurements, once you've started to then build the things, you've got all your stuff laid out. Again, before you come up to the build out, you need to make sure you order all your stuff. Sometimes it takes a really long time. I have this really cool box coming that, again, my buddy Out of Office Camping told me about, it's sort of like a remote display for my dual battery setup. So the Red Arc will control everything, but the Red Arc right now is in the cab of my truck. And I like that because I can use it to turn my fridge on from the front. I can use it to check my state of charge. I can use it for all that kind of stuff. But I want this other one because it's like a remote display and it also has a bunch of USB-Cs, USB-As, a couple of DC 12-volt plugs on it. So it's going to have, and some Anderson. So I'm going to hardwire my stuff via Anderson. So again, it's modular. If I want to unplug the diesel heater for the season, unplug that Anderson, pull the diesel heater out via those trolling motor mounts, slide in my shower, hardwire that with an Anderson, and boom, plug it into that remote box, and you're swapped. So again, think through that stuff, right? Make a lot of lists, write everything down. Draw drawings, right? Even you don't have to be the best artist. I'm not the best artist, but just make drawings, make your accurate measurements and add those to it and start to think through that stuff. You're going to make mistakes. That's okay. But the more you can plan, the less you're going to have to worry about going back and double doing work. So that'll do it for this episode of the podcast. I hope that was interesting for you. I hope it was helpful. If it was and you're on YouTube, click that like button down below and make sure to click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified when new videos drop. I do this podcast every 2 weeks. I do a ton of gear videos. I also do trip videos and do-it-yourself modification videos. So if you're into any of that stuff, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're on the podcast, awesome. Thank you so much for listening. Drop a 5-star review. Also in the description down below will be a link to all of my social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. So wherever you want to come hang out, I'd love to have you. Then there is also, if you're on YouTube, a join button below this video, which is just sort of a passive way to support the channel, get you early access to the videos and these podcasts. But if you want to be more involved with all things overlanding, there's also a link to my Patreon page. Now, this is an awesome group of guys. We've got probably 25 people in there right now. And we have a 24/7 Discord where everybody kind of chats and shares memes. We've got a couple trips that we're doing a year, and we do a once-a-month Zoom call. So if that sounds good, check that out as well. Also in the description below will be links to my website where I've got funny overlanding camping themed patches and stickers, things like don't burn your wiener and it's a hot dog, or I hate people so I camp. So if any of those sound good, there's a ton of cool designs down there. Definitely check those out. And then last but not least, there's a link to the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group. Now, this group is totally free to join, about 30,000 people in it right now, and it's growing every day. But unlike the big groups, we kick people out if they're self-promoting a ton. We kick people out if they're bullies. So try to keep it pretty clean in there and give people the ability to learn or to educate people, help people out, and have a good experience where you can actually ask questions and learn about overlanding. So if that sounds good, check that out. But again, that will do it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.